What is a journal article? This presentation will help you learn the answer to that question by looking at the publication of magazines and journals and comparing scholarly sources with popular ones. Each of the magazines whose cover is pictured here is a popular source. Some of these may surprise you. Not everyone realizes that National Geographic is a magazine because it includes so much scientific content. It is, though. Just like the others shown here, National Geographic is published by people who are interested in selling their magazine. Their main purpose isn't necessarily to teach, although they do provide information. Magazines are great at recording popular, current opinions, but they don't always connect those opinions and thoughts to a bigger context. Many of the writers who work for magazines don't necessarily have in-depth knowledge of the subject they're assigned to write about, and instead have to learn about it while they're researching their article. As you can see, the covers on the scholarly journals on this slide are much less flashy and have far more specific orientations than the magazines. For instance, the Journal of Comparative Psychology rather than Psychology Today. Scholarly publishers, while they still are somewhat motivated by profit, are much more concerned about the accuracy of their content. This is because their audience is different. It's professors and researchers within the field, highly knowledgeable and specialized people, and these publishers have to work very hard to tell them something they don't already know. In fact, their audience is who does their writing. Professors and other researchers write articles about their work to be published in scholarly journals as part of their review and advancement process. In these articles, the writers connect the work they've done with the work of other scholars by including discussions of articles that have already been published and talking about the history and context of their broad field of study. These are images of two articles that both discuss addiction. The one in the upper left corner is from a scholarly journal, the American Journal of Public Health. The one in the lower right is from Who magazine. The journal article isn't as colorful or visual as the magazine article, but it is almost 8 pages long and goes into a lot of detail about its topic. The magazine article briefly tells the story of how a filmmaker made a movie about a drug addict and what happened to both their lives. The entire article is contained in the 3 columns of print you see in the image. Neither type of article is better or worse than the other, but you need to remember to get the kinds of articles that fit your project. You may be required to use journal articles, or you may be asked to provide current or personal opinions that you could find in magazines. Choose wisely. This chart summarizes the differences between popular magazines and scholarly journals. For instance, popular magazines are written by members of the magazine staff or by freelance journalists, while scholarly journals are written by an authority in the field covered by the article. Popular magazines often do not include the author's credentials, while scholarly journals almost always include some sort of author credential statement. Popular magazines may mention sources but don't include a former bibliography. Scholarly journals include citations, endnotes or footnotes, and/or a bibliography. Popular magazines don't go through a peer review process, but scholarly journals do, and this means that when an article is being considered for inclusion in a scholarly journal, before it even goes through like proofreading or any sort of process like that, it is sent to other scholars to be evaluated, and they decide whether or not the article would be a good contribution. Popular magazines contain advertisements and illustrations designed with marketing appeal, but scholarly journals don't have much advertising. The illustrations are charts or graphs. Popular magazines are written to entertain, but scholarly journals are written to report on research or discuss a question. Popular magazines are written in simple everyday language. Scholarly journals usually include language that's specific to their discipline, also known as jargon. Popular magazines, their articles usually are very brief, but scholarly journal articles can be very long, 8 all the way up to 50 or even longer in the page length. Popular magazines rarely have abstracts, which is a detailed summary of the article's contents. Scholarly journals almost always will have an abstract at the beginning of the article or included in a database record about the scholarly journal. Popular magazines are published to sell the magazine. They cover topics that are of current and popular interest that people will be interested in reading, and so they'll buy the magazine to read the article. Scholarly journals are published usually by professional organizations or universities that have an interest in the topic and an interest in advancing knowledge about the topic. Popular magazines are often easy to find for free online, but scholarly journals are sometimes very, very difficult to find for free online. I hope this chart and this presentation have been helpful. Happy researching!